Swiss mountains, alpine meadows, Siberian forests, Arabic deserts. In the country of the Great Steppe, the country of romantics, brave trailblazers, strong by spirit people, conquerors of natural elements. Discover the new Kazakhstan with the program Extreme Routes. Today in the program Driving Buggies. Are you ready for a real transformation? This is great.
Я проехала этот порог.
Here your story begins. We are in the Talgar Natural Reserve. The beauty here is incredible. It is also gratifying to know that the tourist infrastructure is actively developing here, which will allow us to go straight for an unforgettable walk along the mountainous terrain. But not by foot, by buggies. Buggy is an original frame vehicle characterized by small dimensions and lightness. This car with large wheels has a high throughput and incredible stability, mobility, and carrying capacity. The low weight of the car makes it easy to control. The powerful motor provides high speed, and the steering and suspension features allow for a quick maneuverability and bends. The buggy is possibly the best means to travel while relaxing on the seashore or in the mountains. So here we are with the buggy crew. I'm greeted by a young man called Azim. He promised me an unusual tour. Hi. Welcome. Thanks. I can see you prepared 2 whole buggies for me. For me to choose, I'm guessing. Now we're gonna ride down the Agbulak Trail. And you have 2 cars to choose from. There's a red one and a black one. Before I choose, I would like to ask, how are they different? Only in color, nothing else. Great, that makes it easier.
Чай в задачу.
When comparing a regular car to a buggy, it's almost self-evident that a buggy is something in between a go-kart and a race car, a sort of missing link. However, whereas original parts are needed for a car, the process is much easier with the little babies. Different spare parts can be assembled together from cars to motorcycles and mopeds. The shape of the buggy frame can be different, but it must provide comfort and safety for the driver. For this purpose, there is a special frame consisting of the front and back arcs, connected by crosspieces. The front and rear suspensions are attached to the frame. The frame usually consists of several panels of fiberglass or sheet metal.
Машина, которая прощает и на все.
A car that forgives all mistakes. Here, safety is first and foremost. If we talk about similar machines, we can use quads or motorcycles, but for those, you would need experience, and it is necessary that there are restrictions in terms of the route itself. Any machine can overturn, injure a person. The buggy is simpler in the sense there's a safety cage here.
Повредить человека. В багги здесь проще. Здесь стоит.
So here's the question. They are open and small and the terrain is mountainous. It's not safe. Yes, but the cars are safe. I would like to not just ride, but also learn to operate this very ride. Is that possible? It will depend on the situation, but most likely it is possible. They are very simple in operation. Fine, then I choose the black one. Shall we go? Good, let's go. For the first time, buggies appeared in the 50s of the last century in the United States of America. The basis for creating unusual models were used compact cars. Initially without wings and lining, these structures looked unpresentable, but they could easily overcome not only the off-road, but all kinds of obstacles, which the activists liked. In addition, in car dumps, it was possible to find everything necessary for their manufacture, which was especially attractive for young people. Safety first. Special glasses here to help. They will protect your eyes not only from the sand and dust while riding. The main item here is still the seat belt. A good fastening and checking all the fasteners is a must. For passengers, additional handrails are also provided. They are convenient to hold on to. So you can be sure there is no chance that you will fall out during the ride.
Немного не рассчитала.
I miscalculated my possibilities a little. It turned out that the buggy can reach a decent speed of up to 70 kilometers per hour. The wind is cool, so it's better to get dressed accordingly. There's a long walk ahead. And yes, equipment. It is important that all parts of the body are as covered as possible. This way, you will not have to worry about the wind or the branches or trees and bushes lurking along the road. Scratches are, of course, not a deadly thing, but you can agree they're not very pleasant. Driver, carefully follow the road, and I'll look around in the meantime. One of the most picturesque corners of Kazakhstan, the Almaty State Reserve, is located near the city of Talgar. Therefore, it is not surprising that the locals often refer to it as Talgar. It was established in 1931. Currently, the reserve covers an area of about 72,000 hectares of the central part of the Trans-Ili Alatau and is located within the absolute heights from 1,200 to 5,017 meters above the sea level. Its borders pass along the left and right Talgar rivers, then along the bridge separating the Turgen and Issyk rivers, and the southern border runs along the southeast Talgar River and the upper course of the Chilik River to the spur between the Kozbulak II and Tamchi rivers. Of course, we're glad to have such untouched nature remained only 30 kilometers from the city, the purest nature in its pristine state. Thanks to this, we can bring tourists here. They enjoy this nature. Complete relaxation.
Наслаждаются этой природой, полная релаксация.
The nature reserve is composed of different belts and zones: forest, leaf-mixed, coniferous, subalpine, and alpine. All of them are located at different heights and have their unique flora and fauna, which includes about 200 species of birds and almost 40 species of different animals. An islet of virgin nature next to civilization. Such beauty attracts thousands of tourists, travelers, and even eminent guests every year.
У нас был, из знаменитых.
We hosted Prince Harry. Out of the famous people, we had Prince Harry. It's been an incredible route. The prince has been a really good company. I used to think that the royal people, the people of royal blood, are very unique. But during the one-day excursion, I found out that he's very simple and an open person. I think that's why all of England and the world love him and his family. He's very open, and speaking to him, you don't feel like you're different, that he's royalty and you're just a simple folk. He's a very pleasant person. It's been an incredible route. Different artists and famous people have been to our place as well.
Мы простолюдины. Нет, очень приятный человек был. Незабываемый маршрут. Разные артисты знаменитые тоже у нас были.
Finding a guide here will not be difficult, just like choosing the most attractive route. The area is full of sights. For example, those who want to come into contact with history, a direct road to Monachova Gorge. It is named in honor of a group of Orthodox monks hiding here in the early 20s from the Bolsheviks. They huddled in the crevice of the rock and even built a small church, fragments of which have been preserved to the present time and has become a place of pilgrimage. It is believed that the gorge has a special energy that can heal any ailment. If you physically cannot go out into the mountains because of age, illness, then you cannot be excluded from it. And in such cases, such cars can bring any tourist high enough to the mountains. There are exciting tours on various types of transport. Hiking and horseback excursions, people come here for a quiet family relaxation, as well as fans of active tourism.
У нас очень много туристов.
We have a lot of tourists, especially in the last year, which may be even connected with Expo, or simply because Kazakhstan has become more popular. But in the last 2 years, we have a lot of foreign tourists. I cannot say who's in the lead, probably China after all, because most come from China. So are the Europeans, the Americans. You could say people from all over the globe come here.
На разном, можно сказать, весь земной шар приезжает.
И мне то, что нравится тут, это ваша природа.
I like your nature. Everything's natural, beautiful mountains, and to combine all this with an extreme trip by buggy is a great idea. We also managed to visit Shimbulat. We saw the local nature. It's just gorgeous.
Видели природу там, красивую, шикарно.
And I certainly have not arrived in vain. I can confidently tick off the to appreciate the beauty of local nature on my to-do list. But the task of mastering driving a buggy has not yet been completed. Well, we can start. It is here that the final point of our route is determined. I think it's time to be instructed to try your hand at this wonderful buggy. Where do we start? One of our rules is to ask everyone for a driver's license. Here, I have foreseen everything and prepared them specially for you, so that you will be convinced that I have a certain experience of driving. Then take a seat. I'll tell you more. Perfect. The machine is very simple in operation. It is similar to a simple car with an automatic box. There are 2 pedals, gas and brake. We ended up driving a long route.
Там были очень такие сложные.
There were complex areas. In complex areas, we always have an instructor. He shows the trajectory of the movement, and all you need to do is follow his movements of the hands. But you will be close. Of course. If anything, tell me.
Ну давайте не будем.
I will. Let's not lose a second. Already I cannot wait to go.
Отлично.
All right, let's get on the road.
И включайте машину.
Здорово. Просто нужно.
Great. Now hold the brake pedal and turn on the ignition. That's great. Just need to release the pedal and go.
Поехали потихоньку.
Switch the gearbox. I've already set the switch for you. Everything's ready. You can move forward. Great. Shall we go slowly? We passed the trial area, but in the conditions of the thickened twilight, it was not safe to continue the path. It was decided we will return and finish what we started tomorrow. There are several types of buggies. Sport and tourism are the most popular ones and, as a consequence, often found in everyday life. These include craters, beach, or other sandy buggies, as well as buggies for rally raids. Cross buggies relate to a slightly different type. They are designed only for participation in group races on a closed route. And finally, military buggies. Due to their characteristics, these compact cars have been used by the armies of various countries of the world, including Kazakhstan. Back on the road again, but this time already independent. Difference from the usual car by perception: firstly, it is very difficult to get used to dimensions, and secondly, there are a number of nuances that make you nervous even if you have experience of driving. For example, the steering wheel does not return to its normal position. It must be constantly controlled.
Постоянно контролировать.
Another point from the section: security. Buggies for tourists are arranged in such a way that they develop speed smoothly, thus protecting drivers from sudden jumps and unforeseen situations. But then the expectation is compensated. You are guaranteed a flight without leaving the ground. But do not get carried away. The terrain is mountainous and steep slopes, as well as voluminous obstacles are inevitable here.
О, боже.
Come on, let's go. Oh my god, look at him. To the left. To the right. Brake a little.
Вау! Я проехала.
Wow, I passed this threshold.
Это просто супер, вау!
It is great. Wow, I passed this threshold. It was unrealistically scary. Guys, there's nowhere to stop. Overcoming difficulties and obstacles is akin to combat debut. The feeling of pride mixed with adrenaline just overwhelms from the inside.
Человек, который большую свою часть вождения проводит на асфальте, где-нибудь там, если касательно города Алматы, то это...
The man who spends most of his driving on the asphalt when we talk about city of Almaty. It's about traffic jams where the speed is 5 to 10 kilometers an hour. And many after they ride along the route, after that they say that they experienced unforgettable sensations and increased their level of professionalism in driving off-road.
Во-первых. Во-вторых, то, что повысили свой уровень профессионализма именно по вождению по бездорожью.
Прелесть подобных поездок в том,
The beauty of such trips is that you can find solitude with nature in the farthest corners of the reserve. So we arrived at the next parking lot.
Туристы, которые к нам приезжают, часто бывают...
Tourists who come to us often come from different spheres. I mean from different societies. They can be the office staff, various athletes, often there are foreign guests. There are sophisticated tourists who have seen a lot of things, but nevertheless they like it very much, given the beautiful nature in this gorge.
Нравится, очень красивая природа.
The Talgar Gorge makes an indelible impression. The greatness of wildlife is breathtaking. Heat-loving fruit crops such as wild apricots, apple trees here are surprisingly neighbored by firs, birches, willows, and aspens habitual to the cold climate.
Также здесь растет.
There are also mountain raspberries that grow here. You can try them. Bears also descend down for them. Sometimes you come, but it's already collected. Not just collected, but pulled out together with leaves.
Природа здесь нас...
The nature here is so pure and pristine that you can quench your thirst right from the mountain river.
Действительно.
Indeed, the water is very tasty. That is why many who come here bring various containers with them to take this life-giving moisture with them.
С собой.
Meltwater from the glaciers doesn't just have a pleasant taste, but also useful properties. So such walks can be called not only pleasant, but also health-improving.
С города выехали, сразу такая природа, а у нас...
We just left the city and immediately there's such nature. In Israel, where the country is small, anywhere you leave, everywhere is a stone jungle. And here we arrived, there's silence, the water is clean, you can drink from the river. We do not have enough water in Israel, but here it flows directly from the mountains. In addition to short walks, many day excursions are also in high esteem among active recreation enthusiasts. The high-altitude plateau of Asi, the picturesque surroundings of Kegen and Narinkol villages, Kosai and Kainda lakes, Charin Canyon, and the Altin Imel National Nature Park, the Singing Barkhan Nature Sanctuary, the Ketnan Ridge, some of the most popular routes, able to please even the most sophisticated tourists. The eastern part of the Almaty region is saturated with very beautiful places. Almaty includes all climatic zones. The only thing is, there is no tropical jungle, but you can find almost everything else. Riding a buggy is a special ritual for the brave. For those who crave vivid impressions that captivates the spirit not only from speed but also beautiful landscapes. This is a real adrenaline, a magical sense of freedom and unrestrained energy. But to understand this, you need to try it at least once yourself.
Наша съемочная группа следует...
Our film crew follows the numerous paths of sports tourism, the routes of which pass through the mountains and steppe, forest and desert landscapes of our country.
Присоединяйтесь.
Join us. Kazakhstan is even more interesting with us.